Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the Sunnyview Schools podcast for the students, by our students. Today, as usual, I'm surrounded by some beautiful people. I am Albert Chavarría, your host, and the beautiful people with me are...
Hello, I'm Mr. McKean and I'm Head of English and Drama.
Hi, I'm Violet Eve Wetherall and I'm a Year 13 prefect.
Hi, I'm Lauren Leslie and I'm a Year 12, sadly.
And I'm Grace Walker and I'm in Year 13.
Perfect. Beautiful people, as I say. So today we have, it's just been called a trilogy. We have a trilogy of subjects. So what are they?
We have friendships,
situationships,
and relationships.
But wait a second, I know obviously what friendships are, I know what relationships are. I only know that situationship was one of the front runners for the Oxford English Dictionary of the Year. So I'm showing how much of a nerd I am, but what is a situationship?
Well, it's especially just kind of like you're in the middle. Well, it's like before a relationship, or if you're like debating if you want to be in a relationship, kind of. It's just that kind of step before the relationship where you're talking, kind of going on dates, depending on, who it's with.
a situation.
Yeah, it's a situation.
It could be any situation. You just haven't made it official yet. None of you know what to do, but you're just going along with it.
Right, so it's kind of like the pre-stage before. Does it have to evolve into a relationship or might it fizzle out?
Not really. I think the whole point of a situationship is you don't know what's going on, and you just go with it.
You go with the flow.
Yeah. I think the stereotype as well is that a lot of situationships tend to fizzle out, I think, which is a slight shame. So then that's why we usually deem situationships as a sort of bad thing, but I think they're a nice stepping stone before you get into a total relationship.
Right, and amongst you guys and your peers, is this something that's more common nowadays, do you think?
Definitely. I feel like a lot of people our age as well, especially, they want not a relationship, they want a situationship, since I feel like they're too young to be in a relationship yet.
Yeah. It's like a filler. You don't know what you want and you try new things. It's more for the experience sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
But then how do you manage those expectations? Do you go in and say, hey, we're in a situationship? Like, how does this occur?
No, I don't think anybody says you're in a situationship besides you to your friends.
Yeah.
You don't say to the guy, like, oh yeah, we're in a situationship, by the way.
A lot of the times I've seen it just happens naturally. Like, you're talking and then you realise, oh wait, is this a situationship? And it doesn't get talked about, but you know it is deep down.
Right, so it's kind of like an unwritten rule or some unspoken rule that you just are, you're not defined as such.
No.
And are situationships easier to manage than relationships?
They can be. I think there's some benefits to that, but then eventually when there could be some feelings,
I feel like
they're not reciprocated.
Because you're not in a relationship. In relationships, you have to be committed, you have to be loyal. And like situationships, there's no rules. So you could practically see other people at the same time, so it might hurt a lot of people being in one if they really like that person. So it's just kind of like, it can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing at the same time.
I think that's how then situationships can sometimes drive two people away, because those rules, they're unwritten.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one person thinks, oh yeah, we can see each other and we can see other people as well. But then the other person might think, no, I don't want that. And because there's no written rules, it can cause a lot of problems.
That's interesting. It's surprising how mature it all sounds, because there are these unwritten rules and, you'd think of people that are going through adolescence that they're kind of learning these rules, right? So it kind of shows a level of maturity there. How have you seen in, your experiences with, yourself or friends manage these situationships well or manage situationships badly? Like, what would you say, or in your experiences?
I feel like in my experience, I feel like I've always managed them not well. Like, I feel like either I've given myself too many situationships, like too many guys with a situationship, because of course it's like you have the option of multiple, but like in a relationship you just have one person. And I feel like sometimes when I do commit to a situationship, it always ends up me like being hurt. And that's why I kind of close myself off, in my opinion, to that, because it's like you can't trust it.
Right.
I feel like sometimes as well it boils down to just if the situationship goes on for, I don't know, months, and then eventually you get to that point where you have really strong feelings for that person, but that person isn't feeling the same way for you. It can be quite tough to come to terms with that, and also you're sort of wondering, we basically are in a relationship, but because we're classed as a situationship, it's just you can't get to that stage with them, and it's very frustrating, I think.
Right, and how do you then, obviously coming out of that situationship, maybe our listeners would be interested in hearing how you deal with those kind of feelings and the aftermath of a situationship ending, you know, and you're the one that kind of wants it to go on. How do you deal with that?
You just have to man up. I know it's bad to say, but you have to just overcome that fear of it, because to me, situationships, it kind of is defined by that awkward avoidance of not talking about what it really is.
Right.
Like, you don't say this is a situationship. It's the awkward avoidance of not actually defining what the what that relationship is. So you've got to get over that awkward avoidance of not talking. And someone's got their hand up.
Oh, we have someone in the audience here.
Question.
Do you want to jump in?
Yeah. Well, I think that most of the part of a situationship is what you fantasize about the other person. So the best way, stop it. And so the best way to kind of overcome it is to realize that was mostly like in your head, you know, like what you created of that person, what it could have been. And people think that it's a lot harder to get over a situationship than a relationship, because in a relationship it's more plain and obvious as to who the person was. Get away from me. Oh. And in a situationship, it's mostly just what you think that could have been. So that's my point. Bye.
Okay.
Thank you,
That's
Dia.
a good point.
Yeah, no, that is.
Yeah, I think
a good
situationships are like what could have been like a missed opportunity, whereas relationships,
it's kind of like what you dream of, and the way you fantasize that person, and you fantasize being together in a relationship, but you're not on that step yet.
Yeah.
Right. So would you almost say that having a situationship can also be a rite of passage? Because you seem, the three of you have talked about, you've learned from it, right? Or learned from seeing situationships.
Well, yeah, you can, everybody learns from their mistakes, and I feel like situationships are a little bit of a mistake in a way, because you're putting yourself out there to be you're vulnerable. You're putting yourself out there for somebody to love you, show you affection, be that person that will stand by you through your life and everything. That's what you find in a relationship, and you're putting yourself out there, and you just find somebody as a situationship. Right. It's kind of it's a bad thing in a way, but you're learning your lesson anyway. So you learn who you want to give your heart to.
Right.
Do relationships always start with a situationship?
They don't have to. That's why we're talking about friendships as well, because friendships can turn into relationships.
They can turn into quite literally anything.
Elsa has something to say.
Oh no.
Oh no. I just wanted to ask, what's the difference between casual flirting and a situationship?
That's a good question.
Well, casual flirting is just if you see somebody, you compliment them. And I feel like situationship is more you're talking about coupley stuff and doing the dating and doing dates. While flirting, you can just flirt with a guy and then bye.
It's just
you don't have anything commitment to that.
You're fit, but I don't actually want to date you.
Yeah.
I like that other person.
It's you look amazing, but
nah,
I just wouldn't
don't want
actually
anything.
be
Just
with you.
casual, yeah. But then a relationship is you're fit, I'd get with you, I want to be with you.
It's so
it's
good. Doing the dating. I love that.
That's quite clear then.
Yeah.
How then, from having situationships, and then can you go from a situationship to friendship? Can that happen?
Yeah, if the situationship teaches you that you're better off
as friends.
That's happened to me quite a lot, to be honest.
Right, okay. Then again, another rite of passage for you there. And then how do you manage this being around, your friends, or seeing your friends go through this? How do you go through that? How do you help?
I feel like I go through a stage of anger and I just want to push them in a relationship because I know that they deserve that.
And that's when we help.
Yeah, that's when we do
This is
help,
where Lauren
actually.
will pass the phone to us. It's just type it, I don't care.
Yeah. I usually am the one who's please can you type it? I can't.
We hold most of the conversations while she just goes
So
An
then,
honourable mention, I think, would go out to Adriana, where I think there's multiple times where we've got no idea what to say to people, but then Adriana just kind of gives you that push. I think as well for situationships, you don't really know where your boundaries are with someone. Like a friendship, you know your limits and what they're comfortable with, and same as well for a relationship. But then with a situationship, it's not as clear.
Right.
So then after being able to have someone like a friend to help you with that would be really helpful.
Right, so then to have a situationship, do you need to have a good friendship based then, like a good group of people around you?
Yeah, I feel like that because with a situationship, it's so like you don't know what's going to happen,
Right.
and you need these people to support you.
Mm-hmm.
If that person does not want to turn into a relationship or doesn't want to be there for you,
Right.
or doesn't want to carry on this situationship, you need that kind of people also to push you into the relationship if that person that they're dating or in a situationship wants more
Mhm.
and they don't know about it. You give that advice and you push them.
Right. Okay.
Sounds to me like situationships are much more complicated than
They are.
relationships.
They are
They're so-
100%.
Yeah.
I thought from hearing you guys speak, I thought maybe it was like a in between thing, or
Oh, no, it's
but
in the
it looks
name,
like it's
situation.
Like, yeah, it's like
It's literally
It's
just
got
a
yeah.
big
It's
situation.
literally
heavy
its
stuff,
own.
huh?
It's there. It's in
Wow.
black and white.
So then, how do you manage these situationships or even relationships, and I guess friendships too? How does that come into? You guys are now, in the sixth form. I've got lots of other things going on. How do you manage that? Like, how does that work?
I think if the situationship or if the whatever you just want to call it is getting to a point where it's like it's lasting and it's you don't see it ending over something stupid, you've got to set your boundaries straight. You've got to tell them, like, just so you know, I'm here, this is where I am, this is what I have to do. Can you are you going to be patient? Are you going to be alright with that? And
Yeah.
that's when you see if it's not worth it or not.
Also, I feel like when you're going through something and you're in a situationship, for example, like some kind of family problems, and you open up to them and they're actually there, that's 100% proof that they will actually want a relationship if they're going to be there for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like that's also like a big thing, that if they're there for you in your tough times, then there's obvious that they can be there for you for like a lifetime. So that can be like a little sign.
Okay, so my next question, to move on to kind of friendships from situationships, is it easy to tell someone in a friendship that you have a problem with them, or there's a problem between you two, compared to a situationship?
Yeah,
Not really.
It all depends.
Yeah.
And like with a situationship, it's like I feel like it's easier just to end it because it's like but with a friendship, it's like you don't want to end it because it's going to be awkward, and then you
Right.
worry about that.
So what do you do?
Well, I think it goes back to what I said about where your boundaries are with friendships and relationships, but situationships are more sort of, like Grace said, you can kind of just push them away if it's all getting a bit... I think that's what people quite like about situationships. If you're not comfortable with commitment, it's much easier to sort of get rid of a situationship. But friendship, that's a tough...
why do we step it back a little bit, and we've defined situationship. Why don't we define friendship right now? Because we might be talking about very different things.
Oh, do you want to go?
That's tough. I think everyone's got their own sort of definition of,
Yeah.
I don't know, what would make a good friend.
Yeah.
For me, it's someone who can make me laugh, and as like Lauren said, be there for the... All right then.
As you can see.
Yeah, sure. and also someone like Lauren said is there for you when times get tough, and they know what to say, but also if you don't need them to help you, they just are there to be a good listener.
And how do you know they're going to be there for you?
It's just that
Test
kind of
it out.
Trial and error, innit?
Trial and error and trial.
Well, I can tell you the reason I ask is because I'm an expert in this. I have 2 friends in my life.
Okay.
They've been friends since I was 8 years old. They were the first people I met when I came to Sunnyview School when I was 8.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still my friends. I see them every weekend, and they're there for me every single time I need them. No matter what, they'll drop everything and just be there for me. They've traveled across continents to help. We do it no matter what. Everybody else is a serious acquaintance, but they're not my friends. Those are my friends. They're like my brothers. If they die, I'm dead myself. So that, for me, I have it really, really clear because I've been really lucky.
Mm-hmm.
I've found people like that. So when somebody tells me I have a friend, and I think, do you? That's why I'm curious to see what your definition is.
I've quite like
friendship.
same because I've been struggling to like make a best friend for like a long time, and I've moved different countries. I've moved different schools, so it's quite hard to like maintain that best friend. Kind of like being like, okay, this person's my number one, the top priority.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it has always been so difficult because like if you get bullied, you can't by that person, you can't trust them, and nor if like you move away, they find new friends, they find a new best friend. But for me, like recently, like I moved from Madrid, and I met somebody there that helped me so much in a friendship way that I realised that this person is like my best friend.
Interesting.
And like even now she lives in Alicante, I live here, we're still like, we see each other, we plan these kind of like trips together, so we keep on that bond. But with her, I could sit in a room with her quietly, do nothing, and I'd still not be awkward or anything. You kind of have to find that person that you know, you never have an awkward moment, and they will always be there to listen, in my opinion.
I think that's a really good test to see where your friendship is as well. If one of you moves away, is it easy to keep contact with them? Will they still message you? Will you still be able to visit them when you go back, or will they come and see you? I think that's a great test to see whether you have a true friend.
Yeah, also the fact that they might, and this is hard for you to know because nobody knows, but if a person or if your friend can change with you in a parallel manner, they'll always
develop
be there.
with you.
People change. We change very, very.
In our situation, it's definitely we're more. I'm not saying we're more accustomed to it, but we would be more prone to that situation because a lot of us have moved from different countries.
Yeah.
So.
And also right now you guys are moving away and I'm going to be staying here.
Yeah, we're all going to move.
Universities.
We're going to see, are we going to stay in touch? Like, are we not? It's just...
That's always hard.
Yeah. You kind of just want to avoid thinking about it. It's
Yeah,
like, what's going to happen
it's not
next?
nice to
Nobody
think about,
knows.
but you
Definitely not.
as long as you both make the effort, I suppose it's...
So
Why wouldn't it?
So friendship has to be a two-way street. It can't be one
Yeah.
person then making that effort. And then what
definitely.
do you do if it's just one person making that effort and it's you in that case? What do you do? How do you deal with that?
I feel like you have to wake up that person and be like, hello, like, I feel like I'm the only one trying here.
Yeah.
Is there
Right.
anything wrong? Because you never know on that other side's person. Like, they'd be like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, like, I'm going through this stuff. Sorry, I can't be giving you the same, like,
Energy,
treatment, energy and everything. So...
Yeah, I think there's two ways. Like Lauren said, you have to ask them and say, what's up, and tell them how you're feeling. I'm giving you everything I can, and if they're a really good friend, then they should be able to take that on board and go, all right, then I understand what's going on, and I'm going to try to give you that same energy back. But then as well, there can be that situation where if you're not that close to them, there's always that opportunity to just distance yourself, to push you to be, all right, if you feel the need to not give me the same energy, then why should I waste my energy on someone who evidently doesn't want to give me the same energy back?
Sometimes I just drift away. I'll drift in like one day, just stop messaging them, and it's like, then they come back like, oh, what's happened? It's like, oh, what's happened with you? You know? Sometimes you just got to be real. It's like, test them. You know? What are you doing?
Well, that's the best way to lose a friendship, is when it just basically naturally peters out and just fizzles out. That means that it ran its course and everything's good. People change. You change with them or not. You know, you haven't changed with them in this case, and it just fizzles out.
Right. And then going back to relationships with friendships, do you need to, with the person you're in a relationship with, do they need to be your friend?
Yes.
Yes. I feel yes, because like for me, my recent relationship, I was like best friends with him. I told him like my whole daily like routine and everything. I feel like it's really important because you want to build that kind of friendship, because it's like a relationship is a built friendship, but you're just different boundaries. You are together like in an intimate way. And I feel like it works better when your significant other is one of your closest friends as well.
Okay.
Well, that's when the changing together really, really comes into play. If you have a relationship and I talk about my two friends. My third friend is my wife. And yeah, exactly. And it really is like that. But she's not my first girlfriend, right? It's been a while. It took me a while to find that. Sorry, dude.
Yeah.
My son's in the audience, red in the face.
But then, okay, so imagine then we are in this, you're in a relationship and it does end. This is something that, most people will go through at least once in their life. And I don't know, speaking from experience, the first time you break up with someone, it sucks.
It does.
How do you, and it's awful. And when you say when people say, oh, your heart breaks, it's kind of like, well, it kind of does.
You do really feel like that.
You do feel like
glass shattering.
And nobody's ever felt as bad as that, and you will never ever feel that bad.
You feel dead for a straight week, and it's just like...
You feel like there's nothing...
Okay.
anymore.
So imagine then, as you said, to use your example, Lauren, that, you feel like you shatter, your heart shatters. How do you pick up the pieces? What do you do?
I feel like I've done this multiple times, that I kind of like put myself in a positive way, and I think I'm gonna hang out with my friends.
Right.
I'm gonna put my friends first.
Right.
Of course, me first, and then my friends, and I feel like my friends will help build back that energy that I've lost, all that battery that I've lost. And I feel like you have to fill your life with positivity and focus on the things that make it important in the first place, because you've lost first the thing that made your life living. You in a relationship, you plan your future with that person. You've lost your future, you feel like that, and you just have to try and plan that yourself in a positive way. Of course, you can leave yourself a couple of weeks of to be depressed about it, because you need that. You need to realize what you've gone through. You need to kind of grieve that relationship.
I think as well, because being part of a relationship is it takes such a heavy part of your daily routine. It takes such a immense impact on that. I think being able to reform your daily routine is quite important as well. So say you obviously may not be able to speak to them every single day or spend time with them, but then you can, like Lauren said, you change that activity with spending time with your friends, or you may have a day to yourself. What I like to do sometimes, even not in a relationship, but just if I'm feeling down in myself, it's nice to have just a day to reset, watch some TV in your pajamas, eat whatever, and you feel better. You may feel like a slob, but you feel so much better.
It's all about the distraction in the end. Any situation where you're just feeling absolutely dead, it's just distraction. You've got to do everything that will take your mind off the routine that you once had that you don't have anymore. That's why I feel
like it's just a grieving progress. It's literally you're losing somebody, you've lost somebody completely.
Sounds like you have experience in the matter, huh?
Yeah, a lot.
Been there before? Audience, anybody?
Yes.
Anything to say?
It's tough. There's no
Tough,
no right or wrong answer, and it is an awful experience. It takes a lot out of you physically and mentally.
Yeah.
And I think that, bridging the gap between adults and adolescents and, students, I think it's something that we can all relate to in some shape or form, and how it really affects you. What would you say to somebody, some advice, things that they shouldn't do? Because I've heard, as a teacher, you hear things, and I've heard certain things that students may do as, to try and get over this grief process.
Oh, it's that little stage of
I wanna know
trying to
that.
find somebody else.
Don't jump straight into it.
Or
Because
trying to find another relationship.
A distraction, we've got distractions, but good distractions, bad distractions as other people, because inevitably you're going to hurt yourself and that person, because it's unhealthy.
Yeah,
It's unhealthy.
a lot of people going
Focus on
jumping
yourself.
straight back into it, looking for someone, getting with someone straight away. It doesn't work, because then you're constantly thinking how different this person is to the last one, and then you remind yourself, oh, this is what I once had, look what I have now, and then you're reminded that you've got to start all over again. You've got to go through the whole getting to know each other.
We used to call that being on the rebound.
Yes.
The rebound, the rebound phase.
Anytime you jump in that quickly, the other person's going to be a rebound, then you feel bad, and it's just a constant cycle.
Also, you're hurting somebody else by
Exactly,
using them just to get over by somebody else.
But isn't that a situationship?
A little bit.
Right? From a relationship to a situationship as a form of therapy.
Just subconsciously,
So you should avoid both relationships and situationships.
Just avoid people.
People, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Hello.
I think a big problem is that some people don't realize that the progress is not linear at all, and once you go through the mourning process, it's you are going to feel better, but then there are going to be times where you retract and you go back into it. And some people don't realize that that's okay, and it's all right to, go through the process again. It's fine to feel sad, but the place where most people fail is realizing that... is that when they feel like that again, it feels like the entire process is kind of just unraveled. But that's not true. You're doing great. Good job, guys.
Thank you. Yeah.
I mean, in my experience, I recently just had a breakup, last year, and I feel like I kind of pushed myself in a rebound phase, and I just didn't want to think about it, because it was quite a long relationship. It was for 2 years, and so I thought that maybe I was, maybe it's time to move on. I was probably bored or something. It was not that. It was totally different reasons. But I just pushed myself into something that I really didn't feel good in, but I thought it would help. And at the end, it broke me even more, and it made me feel like the breakup was happening again. and it ruined both of like me and the other person. Like very messed us up very much. So don't recommend it.
Wow, that's tough. What do you do? Okay, here's another scenario for you. You've just come out of a relationship, or you like someone that's, you know, in your close, like, you know, friendship group, and you have other people's relationships are working in front of you, or the person that you like goes off with your friend. How do you deal with that kind of, those, you know, emotional setbacks?
Could you elaborate on that, please, a little bit more, Mr. McKean?
So imagine, you know, you are newly single, or you are, you know, you like someone,
Yep.
but then somebody within your friendship group goes off with that person. How do you deal?
The person that you used to date?
Yeah, the person you used to date, or the person that you now, or the person that you like. How do you deal with that?
It's amazing. I feel like
Asking the tough questions.
It's a tough call.
It is quite.
But at the same time, if you were a proper strong friendship group, would they not know that you used to date that person?
Or that you like that person, for
Yeah.
example.
Okay, well, you'd hope so, but we know that that's not 100% always
Yeah.
going to happen.
This
so,
is true.
you know,
What can you do about it? It's just you can't go and chase him saying stop.
right.
'Cause for me, do it. Stop.
It's
You know,
mine.
You can't. You've got to just
My
accept
property.
it. Like accept. Yeah, they're moving on. Okay,
Right.
that's a bit crap, but okay.
Okay, so it's kind of accepting things that you can't control. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not the
You
nicest,
have
but
to
it's got
just
to be done.
realise that people move on, and
Yeah.
you know, we're not. You know, we're meant to be with one person, but it might not be that person, and it's not the right time.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes right person, wrong time, or wrong person, right time. You know.
Whichever.
Okay. Okay, and then with that, can you still be friends with your ex?
I'd never recommend it.
Oh.
I don't.
Lots of people.
I think you can, but
Yeah.
I have
It's
not
possible.
experienced that.
Yeah, I haven't either, but
It's tough.
I haven't either. For me,
Sadly.
it's like block, goodbye.
Well, no, not block necessarily.
I'm getting out
But
of
it's
the
not
way,
the same.
You know?
If you started off as friends and then we're in a relationship and
Right.
you try and get back what you used to have, it's not the same anymore. And I think it's quite upsetting because I think you don't always know going into the relationship that you know that that's going to be the case. But you can always try. I think it's always good to try, but if it gets to the point where it's hurting you too much, I think it's good to distance.
I feel like being friends with your ex, later on, you know, if you're still friends and you're trying to move on like months after, and your ex sees and he's your friend and you talk to him about everything, he is going to get jealous and you're going to hurt him. Or if it's the vice versa, he's going to hurt you by telling you he's moving on and your friend realize.
I'd say it depends on your environment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, going back to my childhood here at Sunnyview School, I think at that time there was 300 students in the school, which means that your circle of friends and possible relationships was incredibly limited. And Sunnyview was very insular at that time, so we didn't have friends outside school. So basically,
There's no
take it
running
from
from
there.
it.
No running from it.
You have to
So
always see
if
it.
there's 6 girls in the class and 20 guys, the 20 guys
Oh, no.
ended up or the opposite.
Yeah.
If there's 6 guys and 20 girls, you know, we all knew each other. We
Yeah.
all ended up in
I think that's quite tough.
situationships or whatever. Yeah.
If you're dating, I remember my dad always saying to me, never date someone that you go to school with, because if it ends poorly, you have to see them every single day. And I was like, shut up, Dad.
Well, I'm here to tell you.
And now
You
I
do
know
get
he was
over it.
right. So
You do get over it.
yeah,
You do, but it's not.
it's tough. It's tough.
It's not an easy ride. It's not an easy ride. You know.
In my life, I've dated somebody in my school, and it did not end well. That person ended up leaving the school.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it got very
Heartbreaker.
bad.
Oh my
So,
god.
It's not me.
so don't date until you graduate. Basically,
Yeah.
Is, you
That's
know,
your famous
Like
quote.
university
It
is
is.
fine because you know it's a big school.
You'd
As long
hope
as it's
so.
not in your class, then you're fine.
Right. Okay. So then relationships when one person moves away. You know, you've mentioned university that you're all moving on. We've talked about how, you know, managing the friendships. Do the same rules apply?
Yeah, that's when
Yeah.
you got to sit down and you got to ask, like, what are we going to do? Because
You kind of have to plan your future.
Yeah.
I feel like if you plan your future with that person, then you're more optimistic about it.
Mhm.
Like if you say like, yeah, you're at that university and I'm at that university, we're in 2 different countries. But after we graduate, we're going to meet up in this country and live together. And we start off our jobs and, you know, everything like that. I feel like that helps you be positive in your relationship, that you know that you can trust that person, you have that future planned, in a way.
Wow.
it's important to know if they're willing to,
Yeah. If they're
to
willing
say, like, to wait for you and to... suffer with the.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, Elsa, hello.
But does long distance really work, and is it healthy
Ooh.
for both
Ooh.
people?
It's different for everyone though. It's
Yeah.
really different for everyone.
But you know what? It's kind of like the combination of what we said about friendships. You've got to. It's like a friendship. You've got
Right.
to put in the effort both ways. Of if you move away, message, keep in contact, travel. But then at the same time, if you realise that you're the only one that's putting in all that effort, pull away or
Right.
have a sit down conversation and go, listen, you're not meeting what I expected how this was going to go, and I don't think I can do this anymore.
Yeah, I feel like long distance relationship, both of you have to work for it. Both of you have to travel, and both of
Right.
you have to call each other after your days and tell what happened and everything, and
Yeah.
just keep in touch. I think that's the main point
Right.
Yeah.
if you want to survive that
And
relationship.
do you think they work, long distance relationships?
I mean, I've tried it, so
And
it went okay. I think at the end the trust was just not there because you're in a different country, new people, new friends, and they don't know if they can trust your friends. It's not about you, but then it turns into they don't trust you.
it goes back to what I said before. If you're in a relationship, you have to hope that you both change in a
Yeah.
similar way. And if you're at a distance and you're young enough,
And pushed into different environments
Yeah.
as well. You don't know, like Lauren said, you don't know whether these new people will influence your partner in a different way, and will that make them change for the better or for the worse? But either way, you're not changing with them.
I think it all just depends because I've seen it work and I've seen it not work. Like with my parents, for example, my dad, he used to work on cruise ships. He was away like 85% of the time, and we barely saw him. And then my mum was here with me, and they made it work.
Right.
When he was out months at a time, it was fine. He just called every day, and it was cool. But then I've also seen it not work with people, because I've got like my friend. She'll be expecting a text, and it'll be nothing.
Right.
And then they'll blame, oh, I was too busy. Why are you doing it then? Like, why are you still here? And it just ends up in an argument. So it depends on the environment and the
And
situation.
what's your opinion on lengthy relationships? Do you think it's better to marry your childhood sweetheart and be together for 30 years, and by that time you're only 40, or do you think it's better to outlive as much as you can, get as much as experience, so that when you finally meet the person, or is there a person? Is there like a perfect match for each person, or is
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, there is.
You think?
There is. I think
But
so.
is there only one perfect match?
That's the question. Is there only one perfect? But I think there is. I think that, you do find someone, like you said, you change, you find that person you evolve with.
Yeah, but surely we can't all be that lucky all the
Yeah.
time.
I think
Yeah,
it
but
just
not
depends
everyone
for
is.
everyone.
Many people end up being single and dying alone, so
Thanks, Mum.
that's my fear. I'll start crying.
I don't know. I'm a romantic. I think I like that idea. That finding that person, and I think I have. But like, it's kind of
Aww.
yeah. I know, right?
Yeah. Not me too. I
Yeah.
read love romance novels when I was so young, and I just pictured that my whole entire life. That's why I pushed myself into a
Elsa, you had
relationship.
something to say before?
Come on in.
No, it was still just about the long distance relationships.
Very intrigued with the long distance.
Yeah.
Are you in one?
No, I'm not in one. But the thing is, okay, so because you guys were talking about trust, and then you're talking about your parents, but I mean, especially at our age too, if that's the first relationship you've been in and you're still attached to that and you're not able to experience anything else, do you think that's right or healthy?
I think a lot of it is about going through the experience yourself and learning from it. Like, my parents were in a similar situation to Grace. Like, my dad wasn't really there that much due to his job, but they've been together now like 33 years.
Exactly.
Yeah,
They've been
that's the same
together.
with my
Exactly.
parents.
Right,
My dad
and-
is
Yeah.
always traveling.
And they've made it work. I look at them and I'm like, you two could only be with each other because nobody else would, suffer
Stand,
through it.
yeah.
Right.
Fair.
But then I look at that and that puts me off. Like, I don't want to have a long distance relationship for the things that they've had to go through to get to where they are now.
True.
Because
Yeah,
now they're
same.
they're used to it. Like that's
Right.
how they're happy. I think that's why I think this sort of stuff you can't plan it.
No.
You've just got to let it happen, see what happens. That's when now when I think that is there one perfect person? Like is it like that? Nobody knows because you've just got to let it go.
Yeah.
Anything can change.
I feel
Like-
like that's why a breakup's the most hardest, because you're thinking that, did I just break up with a person
Perfect
that was the
person.
perfect person?
And you don't know what's
and
gonna
that
happen
was
next,
that my
ever.
one person.
And that image that you have of
Yeah.
them, you build it, you create it. So obviously going through that breakup, you kind of like, was that my only chance? You know, crap. And then you kind of, but again, perspective is everything.
Yeah.
Time
And
is
time as well. I think
such the best healer.
you meet the perfect person for you at one age, and imagine if you met them 10 years later, maybe you'd be absolutely repulsed by them.
Right, but then also telling people that time is like the best healer, that's really hard to hear, because it's not like okay, if you put this, you know, ointment on or whatever, if you drink this drink, you'll be completely fine. It's not a magic potion.
Drink, I don't know,
Yeah.
drink works.
Well,
If you drink this drink, you'll be, oh, no? Oh, okay, sorry.
yeah.
Sounds
So
bad,
no,
exactly.
you should not be doing that. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But
Positive
yeah,
things,
time,
positive.
yeah,
Positive
like,
things,
Think
positive things.
positivity.
you know, and I think lots of things you are going to hear are not going to, you know, you're going to think they're not going to help because they're not a quick solution. It's kind of, you got to hang in there.
Yeah, the time, like, taking time and waiting is the hardest, but it's the best thing to do. And that's when a lot of people start to think, like, what am I waiting for? You know, and it's just,
I think
but it works.
music helps with a good breakup.
Yeah.
Love music.
Okay.
I've got a little breakup playlist.
Oh yeah.
I just
There's
bash
always
out.
somebody feeling worse than you are somewhere out there. And just listen to the new song.
Right. Elsa, hello, come in.
Jesus.
Is it long?
I just felt like shifting the focus of the conversation. What do you think of open relationships?
Oh, good God.
Oh god.
Elsa, you devious.
Actually, when you mentioned situationships, I thought that was pretty much what a situationship.
Not really.
Unless-
in
unless
open
you've
relationship,
established
you're a couple. You're officially a couple.
Okay,
I think
so
the open relationship is more just like, oh yeah, let's date, but I just want to bring my mate Steve over it because he also likes you. Whoever.
Steve!
Oh no, or Shirley. She wants to come in.
It's like
She wants to
I
come in
love
as
you,
well. Yeah. She likes you too. Can she be part of
Bob's
it?
around the corner.
yeah, I love you, but this
right then,
guy's
so open relationships.
well,
What do we
and I
think?
don't mind if we share, you know.
You have to have so much trust, I think, for an open
Yeah.
relationship.
Too
The
much.
idea of it, I find scary. I think as well because a lot of what we've got around us are hopefully monogamous relationships, but then, you know, adultery happens.
It's like that.
But
What's it called?
polyamory.
Polyamory.
I'm
Yeah.
not saying that everyone should be polyamory. I understand
No.
people that are in open relationships because they do have that level of trust.
The patience they have is crazy.
Yeah,
I look up to that.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
No, but then I think, you know, knowing me as a person, I probably couldn't. Just knowing
No,
how
I
I
don't
am,
think
because
I
I would question everything. But I know I've got one friend and he's in one, and him and his girlfriend have been in an open relationship now for 6 years, and they've made it. I know, right? They've made it work. From my from looking, you know, from the outside in. But I don't know the goings on. I think it's all about communication. But I find it scary. Absolutely not.
Like I've never actually seen anyone like or know anyone in an open relationship. But I've always seen it as like you love someone. I don't see why you'd have time to love someone else. I don't know. Maybe it is more like I love you, but like this is my mate and she likes you a little bit. Let's not make her feel left out. I don't know. To me, it just doesn't seem right. But
I think one's hard enough. Never mind.
exactly.
Right.
So I think if you love someone truly, you'd put all of your energy into that one person.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I
then-
feel like the trust as well is just like, are you gonna fall in love with that other person?
Right.
Are you gonna find out that that person is more suitable for you than I am?
Right.
Like,
So
you know,
I just don't think it's right.
So I have a question. So is it you all love each other equally, or is it you start off as a couple and then you develop into a throuple?
I think
But
Lots
there's just someone that joins. Oh, this sounds a bit weird now.
No, it's really
No,
weird.
yeah.
But is it
Elsa
also-
started this. I think
Hi,
Elsa
Elsa.
should tell
Yeah,
us.
thanks a lot, Elsa.
I think
Elsa, how would you define it?
An open relationship?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just go up to the mic.
yeah, how would you define it in your
So what is
My-
okay?
way?
My understanding.
Into the microphone, sweetie.
Loud and clear. Come on.
Go on, yell it. Shout it out loud.
My understanding is that it just means that you're not bound to one another. So if one
Right.
person wants to go and like experiment with someone else, like that's fine.
I see that as a
All that
situationship though, because that's when you're doing it.
That's you know.
So does
Right.
you, Elsa.
does romance come into the equation with an open relationship?
Yes, I don't understand
yeah.
this. So do you all go on a date?
No. It's
But
more
no,
like.
but I'm just wondering. Imagine if you
Here,
go to
help
the
us out
fair-
here, please.
If
Help.
you go to the ferrier and there's only 2 seats on a roller coaster,
What do you do?
trios don't
The other
work
one-
in a
no,
relationship.
the other one
in
pays.
an open relationship, you are basically single. and you're just going around with everybody else.
Yeah.
No, but I
No,
feel like an open relationship is that you have that one person that you always go back to at the end.
Right.
But
Yes.
you see other people, experiment with other people, but you have that person to always
Yeah.
go back
Right,
to.
so you have like a main
Squeak.
Because
I
we're
mean-
talking about
I mean,
open
yeah.
relationships.
No, you've got the
alright?
main person, and then you got the other one that's okay with being a rebound.
Yeah, so
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so sad.
It's true.
It's like
I would
it's
hate
like a
to be the
marriage.
in the throuple.
It's like a little no, thruples are totally
But it's
different.
not. Yeah, thruples
In
are
my
completely
opinion.
different.
Yeah, they could be like.
So what's a throuple?
A throuple is some, the
People
three
that-
people are in the relationship
and they
together.
love all of them.
There is an equal.
So that's equal.
Equal
Whereas
love.
an
Equal
open
love.
relationship is two, and
Right.
then there's one on the side.
Yeah, so imagine that they are in an open relationship. Like Lauren said, at the end of the day, you would go back to that person.
Not that I
You
have
would-
experience.
No,
by the way, though.
but like you would go back. But if your partner in the open relationship wanted to, I don't know, they were on a night out and they met someone and that things
wanted to
escalated.
experiment.
That would be okay, because that's within the guise of an open relationship. You are open to other things, but the idea of the relationship is you still have that person back at home or within your life, right?
Yeah.
So
You're with that person to like text and
Yeah.
in your life. But thruples are literally just like you are a couple, but it's just three people, and you all love each other like
Yeah.
same way.
Right.
Throuple. Can we
Yeah.
all just say
And
it? Throuple.
Throuple. Right.
Hard word.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah.
But I feel like I've seen thruples on TikTok, and it's a bit. It seems always like one of them is
Oh.
jealous of the two, because it's like, when you're in a friendship with three people, you're always like, there's two off, they go off, and then you're just there like.
Babe, why you hug her, not me? Like that, it's always, I don't know.
And then it's
weird.
like
Third wheeling.
it's like I've
Yeah.
seen this example where it's two women and one man, and then the man gets one of the woman's pregnant, and then the other one feels left out because she can't have his children.
Wow. Wow. So
Why?
that is.
Why?
Wow. I'm
That's quite
learning. I
interesting.
feel like I've learned so much.
I just,
Wait, have you not
I
seen
feel like I'm a good therapist.
on those
here,
channels
guys.
where it's
Well-
like My Strange Addiction, and then after there's also those similar channels, they
Right.
have them, and then after you they go into their house and film them for a day, and it's like the one of the couple is just like they're making
Yeah.
out right
And
in
the
front of the
one's
other
just
one.
there
It's just like
washing
well,
the
anyway,
I love this life.
love
Wow.
don't judge,
So-
honestly.
it just seems like an opportunity to get hurt, like
Right.
Ryan said.
Okay then. So for people, we're coming. I think almost coming nearer to the end now. What advice would you give people your age for situationships, relationships, and friendships? How about managing those? One or a piece of advice that has stuck with you that you think the listeners would like to hear.
Just don't do an open relationship. That's what I've learned today.
Don't push yourself into a relationship so young, because you have a lifetime to give love to other people, and you have a lifetime to find that soulmate and find that one person. I feel like when you're young, focus on your friends, in my opinion.
That's lovely.
As they
I
say,
feel like
Yeah.
que sera,
boys
sera.
take up so much time, or girls take up so much time, like if you're in a relationship, and that you don't focus on your friends. Don't start crying.
I'm
really.
not crying.
Getting a bit emotional in here.
You guys,
Just
Yeah.
whatever happens. Just
Yeah.
literally que sera, sera.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the only way you can say it.
Wow. Yeah. For sure. Here.
hello here.
Hello.
Sorry.
I think the main thing that some people need to realize is that you're not your relationship. It's just a complement or like an addition to your life. It's not. People love saying like, "Oh, this person's my other half," but they can't be. You both need to come together and unite as like one whole. They're not a part of you.
Real.
They're just like
They're
part of your life.
Real.
And that's what when you lose them, you kind of feel incomplete, and it's like, don't do that.
Thank you.
Thank you here.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. That was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feels like
I think as well, things are easier said than done, right?
Yeah.
And I think you've got to accept you're going to make mistakes, you're going to have setbacks and heartbreak, but there are going to be really good moments too, and it's valuing those, and valuing, if you don't value yourself, then who is going to value you?
Yeah, I feel like don't push yourself into a relationship when you don't have that love for yourself.
Exactly.
There's a lot of people that go through like mental illnesses as well.
Right.
And they're trying to put themselves in a relationship, but they don't even have that self-love that they have. And you can't give love if you don't have that yourself for your own human being,
Right.
Just enjoy the ride. Just let it happen. Just don't force anything.
Don't force anything. Just let things go with the flow.
And if they don't go well, learn from your mistakes.
Exactly
Yeah.
that.
I
Yeah.
think.
I think that's pretty.
Thank you, Hia.
pretty
Only one
solid.
rooting
Thank
for
you
it.
for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, thank you. for
Appreciate
that.
it.
Everyone else is a bit crap audience, aren't you? Sorry, is that swearing?
No, that's. I think you're.
Well-
Absolutely tripe over it.
Right.
No clapping. Come on.
Thank you. What a raucous show today we've had, guys. Wow.
Yeah.
It's
But
been
Deep
absolutely great.
conversation.
it's been really good fun.
Interesting.
I think we might even have a follow-up to this.
I think
Come
so.
back for part 2,
We've
guys.
only-
Come back.
We've only just scratched the surface.
Right.
Come back for part 2. We'll bring in the situationships.
Don't you worry. We'll give you
Next
a
we'll have a
model.
special guest. Special guest next time, guys. Adriana McCardle.
Oh no!
Please.
She is another sixth former who is part of the, and you mentioned her earlier being someone that you could go
She's
to.
an amazing texter.
Amazing.
If
Right,
you
so
if you
tips.
can't
She's
get
got amazing
round-
Riz as well.
Riz.
Riz,
Riz.
That's the next one. Riz. What is Riz?
Riz.
To bring back to what I said at the beginning, that is the Oxford English Dictionary word of the year.
Riz for
right? But what does it
charisma.
mean?
Charisma.
Well,
Charisma.
I know that, but our listeners might not know.
I have no
Rizology,
idea
as
what
they
you're
say.
Guys, Riz
It's like-
is
To Riz.
how much that person is like cool, you know?
Would you understand if I said like Riz is like?
Flirty, right?
Would you understand if I said like you got game? That's Riz. Like
Oh,
oh yeah, that person got
Yeah.
game. Lauren's got game.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Charisma.
On us.
depending.
Right. So yeah,
Sounds good.
Right.
Sounds good.
Brilliant. Thank you.
All right. Well, I think we made it to the end
we did it.
in one piece. It has been very, very exciting. Thank you very much for coming.
Come back.
Thank you to our techies at the back, Jess and Erica, as usual. Very excited. Oh, there you go. Anyway, thank you very much for coming. It's been absolutely great. You will see you next week, or in a couple of weeks.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.